Valdosta, Lowndes County, Georgia news media networks have refused to publish anything about this bogus criminal trespass. It is, as if they are a part of the clique and among the slicks. Joel 2:1. G.B.R. Is this an attempt to continue the cover-up of KJ murder on January 10, 2013 by School Superintendent Wes Taylor and former Sheriff Chris Prime? Joel 2:1.
To a location here in the United States, but I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to let you tell it. I'm going to let him tell you where they'll be journeying to. Once again, don't you, listen to me closely, y'all. I know some of you all kind of slow. I know that because I'm a little slow myself. And I'm older. But I'm asking the people who know how to tag all them thousands of friends that you have on your Facebook channel. Just share it with them so they can hear this live feed. And we're going to give it to you uncut. And we're going to give it to you like everybody in America should want it. And how is that? Uncut and the unadulterated truth. This is the Get To Free Press, and I'm George Foster Rhines. I'm in Valdosta, Georgia, the county of Lowndes, and the state of Georgia. I'm out at the grave site of Kendrick Johnson, who was found dead at the Lowndes County High School gym, January 11th, 2013. This is not an interview. This is what I call a freedom of speech video. And for once, since January 11th, 2013, I want you to hear from the Father. I'm not going to tell you what is happening this week. He can tell you himself. I give you the father of Kendrick Johnson, Kenneth Johnson, on behalf of his wife, grandmother English, brother Eddie Tooley. I'm saying to you, America, and around the world, this is the father of Kendrick Johnson. How you doing, my brother?
All right, how you doing?
Tell us your story, my brother, in the way you want to.
We as the parents of Kendrick Johnson will continue to fight for justice for Kendrick Johnson. We always only wanted the truth of what happened to Kendrick Johnson. We only wanted the truth of who all was involved in Kendrick Johnson's death. You can't make a murder out of an accident. So we still D.C. this week to try and talk to people who can get it out of Valdosta's hands. We are not only fighting for Kendrick Johnson, we are fighting for so many other deaths that happened right here in this town. We ask the families who lost loved ones and the injustice they've received, no matter how many years ago it was. We all need to unite as one and finally take this town down. There are so many deaths happening here, right here in Lowndes County. And some families have just turned their head to a blind eye. We all must come together and fight for our loved ones and make the truth be told. What happened to our loved ones? They're not going to do it for us. We got to do it ourselves. And we will be headed to Washington, D.C. this week. And I'm not going to only talk about Kendrick when I get to Washington. We are going to be sitting with some very important people. And I'm not only going to talk about Kendrick. I'm going to talk about the so many other deaths that happened right here in this town. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to change the subject just a little bit. But to our black leaders in this town, we need somebody to lead. We need somebody that's not going to be a coward. We need somebody to lead us that can speak what they see and not what they are told. All the black leaders in this town are supposed to be fighting for this town and for our people. All of you have let this community down. Not one of you stood and fought for what is right and for what your eyes see and what common sense tell you that it is to be. You only listen to what higher up tell you. You have a mind of your own. You know when something's not right. You wasn't born yesterday. People of this community, we need to vote people in these offices, in these positions, to help us all and not be a coward and willing to fight for what's right. Willie James Williams, Stephon Egerton, and many more, just like Kendrick Johnson, have not received justice. There have been so many jail deaths out in that county jail. These families have not received justice for what is right. People in this community like to always talk about black on black crime. But you got to realize when it's a black on black crime, two family losers. There's one that's dead, and the one goes to prison. But when it's a white on black crime, there's one dead, and the other ones go free. How can this community can stand and let this keep happening? It's not just Kendrick Johnson. There's so many others here in this town. And these black leaders here has failed this whole community. Every one of the black leaders have failed this community. They're scared to speak out and talk about what is right in this community. We don't need no one that's going to drop their head and kick rocks. We need someone going to stand and fight for what is right. I'm tired of you Negroes walking around here scratching on your head, laughing when it's not funny. It's time to stand up, Valdosta, and fight for what's right. And I'm fighting for everybody. I'm not just fighting for Kendrick Johnson. We, the Johnson family, because it's a damn shame that this is happening here in the 20th century. And everybody get a little threat, get a little crazy mess on Facebook. You shut up. You took your tail and run. But the Johnson family will walk with our heads up high and will continue to pursue what is right. Everybody that the Johnsons deal with, they get hate mail. They get threats. Everybody. Y'all think we don't know that when y'all threaten the people around us, you think we don't know? But the Johnsons is not cowards. The Johnsons is not afraid. The Johnsons will stand with their head up. And the Johnsons will take this town down. When it became the Kendrick Johnson, and y'all didn't do what was right, y'all didn't know y'all would have this kind of fight on y'all head. All y'all Negroes ran out there at Lowndes High School, running behind their football, running behind their basketball. They didn't give a damn about Kendrick Johnson. They don't give a damn about your children. Don't think it's no different. Because it's all the same. We all have black and brown kids. And they don't give a damn. So wake up, smell the coffee. Because this is real. We've been in a hell of a fight for the last 9 years. And we gonna get justice. We just don't know how close we are. We don't talk about it. Because we know how cowardly people are. But we will stand until we get justice for Kendrick Johnson. There's no backing away for us. The Johnson family, we're not afraid. Thank you.
Now, I have a few questions. I want to thank you for laying that out so perfectly about the city, the county, and Valdosta. Question. What date is this event this week?
It'll be the 8th.
8th of April.
Friday, 12 noon.
12 noon. What, I asked you this before, but what is the major, I'm not going to say disappointment, but what is the major problem with not being able to get answers and justice in this case?
Well, Brother Ryan, it's not only the Johnson family have not been able to get justice. So many other families. And it still happened in 1950 into the 20th century. Racism is alive and well. And we as people don't fight for what is right. They didn't do right in the 1950s, 1940s, 1930s. You go so on and so on. If the people that stand to fight for what is right, you think they're going to just give you what's right when it's come down to one of theirs involved? That's how white supremacists work. White supremacists is so deep. But the Johnson family, who will stand, who will fight white supremacists, no matter who. When it comes down to our seed, something we bear and brought to this world. I taught my own son how to drive a car. I taught my son so many things. And you think I'm going to turn my head and walk away? They made a fatal mistake. Because I would not walk away. I would stand. And I will get justice for Kendrick. I don't give a damn what they say. I'm on the verge, and I'm going to break to get justice. And I'm real close. And they know we're real close. And we will get justice.
Okay. So, as I interpret what you just said, that if the black people in the 1800s until 2022, if they had stood up for the injustices, the murders and killings and mistreatment and discrimination of black folk had been addressed in years past, you're saying that we wouldn't have to deal with it today?
We wouldn't have to deal with it today. If you take maritime, Brother Ryan, if the black community would have stood up and fought and raised all kind of hell, even if it cost other black lives, if you stood there and fought for what is right and showed them people that you was not going to back away and just turn a blind eye to say, hey, this didn't happen, but it really did. If they would have fought, if our ancestors would have fought and fought and fought, no matter what, this would not be happening today. It's time to put an end to this racism, this white supremacy in these courthouses in Valdosta, and these peoples in Valdosta is so racist and prejudiced. It's time to put a stop to it.
Kenneth, what makes you call out the facts in the case dealing with your son? What makes you tell the truth? Use the word racism when a lot of people don't want to use it.
Well, Brother Rob,
why do you? I know you love your son.
But Rob, you got to call it for what it is. All of these different things happen. All of these things they're trying to stop from the public from knowing what happened. It's plain racism. Do you think if Kendrick would have killed the little white boy in school, during school, Kendrick would have never walked off that campus? If it was a white little boy was found on that campus dead, ain't no in the hell nobody would have walked away from this campus. I don't give a damn if they got the wrong people. Someone would have went to jail that day. No one. They would have locked that school down. They found a black kid dead. Everybody would walk around the school like normal. They said, well, we locked the school down. Oh, no, hell, you didn't. When the bells rang, class changed. Children walking as normal. The next day, they went to school as normal. Like nothing had happened. You think they found a little white boy in that schoolhouse dead? You think Benny would have went on as usual? If that ain't racism, I don't know what it is. And then they have all the tapes out, the tape cut, and every time someone brings information about the alleged bail boys, what happened, they want to lock them up, Brother Ryan. They want to make them out of lies. This shit is really happening. They want to make everybody out of liars.
Mr. Johnson, do you feel in your heart of hearts that it was strange that they denied the family to ID the body, number one? Number two, the crime scene was not protected. They did it with footies or booties and footies as they call it, and contaminate this scene, and yet you don't hear nothing by any law enforcement officer or judicial system, not even the G.B.R, that something was done and somebody should have been counseled, reprimanded, fired, or receive additional training?
But right, that's the unique part of this. That's how white supremacy works. It's a black child. A black child, they thought they could do this and it ain't gonna happen. They didn't know all this backlash was coming. Not only that, Brother Ryan, when I said that every time that someone tells something about the bail boys, they want to lock them up, make them out of liars. The father did a deposition. I told Pope this about how the consistent lies he did in his deposition. Brother Ryan, if the father can sit in front of my eyes, where my son lived with me all of his life, from the time he came from South Georgia Medical Center up until the time he died, and could tell me that Kendrick spent the night to his house for weeks, for weekends and weekends and weekends, and he didn't know, man, that I know you lied. And the consistent lies. But Brian, you're not gonna tell a lie if you ain't have nothing involved, if you wasn't involved in this any kind of way. You was not gonna tell these lies this man was telling. His sons were telling. Now, I want to say this, Brother Brian. How can Kendrick stay to the Bell's house all weekend long? He took Kendrick hunt fishing. But the daddy know this, but the boys don't know this. How in the hell could this happen? How can the Bell's mother say she took Kendrick home to where he stayed, but she didn't know where the house was? How can this family continue to tell lies about Kendrick when they can't prove none of this stuff? When Kendrick always lived with me from the time he was born, from the time we brought him from South Georgia Medical Center up until the time he died. He never spent a night with anyone else in his whole entire life. Up until he got a lot older, till he was about maybe 15, 16, we might let him stay. We let him stay over to Keisha's house. And he spent the night with Solomon. But anyone else, we didn't play that shit. And for this family to continue to tell the lie. So that let me know that you and your family had a whole lot to do with this, because you will be sitting in my face and trying to convince me when I know you're lying.
Mr. Johnson, after you did your interview in front of the sheriff department, and the sheriff said no foul play, I went to the Superior Court and asked for a copy of what he found with a court stamp. They call it a date stamp. And it did not exist. So I then went to the sheriff department and they actually gave me a copy of his rulings. I went to District Attorney Brad Sheevan and asked him why and if that document would be added into the case of your son. And he said that was an independent investigation, therefore it does not have to be filed with your case. My question to the DA was this: if somebody come from New York and wanted to get a complete historical account of what happened, they would miss out on his finding because it's not filed with the courts. Now, I don't know if they have something in the court stating that they need to go over to the sheriff department to get it, but I just found that to be kind of strange.
But Rob, we all got to remember one word, and that's white supremacy. They think they can do us any kind of way. Damn if they ain't wrong.
Mr. Johnson, I was in the courtroom and people talk about this all over Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and every place else on the street, that you all have to pay $300,000. Now, Judge Richard Porter III presided over that. And to me, I saw some strange things in the courtroom. I want you to tell me, did you witness some of the strange stuff that I saw, like the lawyers actually raised their own hand, gave themselves their own oath, every one of them mostly.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, there was great disrespect between the attorneys and your attorney, Shaveen King. They talked to him in a way that was disrespectful. Number three, I walked outside of the courtroom. People that was in the courtroom came to me and said to me, and to WSB out of Atlanta, Channel 10, and Channel 6, and maybe some others, and ask them, did you all see Judge Richard Porter III sleeping on the bench, and yet he ruled against you? Can you put any light on what I said and witness? And I recorded these people because they wanted to get on tape.
Brother Ryan, not only was he asleep once, he was asleep many of times.
Right.
Many of times he was asleep. And he opened my eyes, he'll make a ruling. Don't know what the hell doesn't happen. He's asleep. But Brother Ryan, we as people's got to understand white supremacy. It's all involved in white supremacy. Brother Ryan, that $300 was put in place for us to make us run, to make us stop fighting. We don't give a damn about the $300,000. They can take the $400,000. They can take the $500,000. We don't give a damn because we gonna fight for what is right for Kendrick. The justice will be served to Kendrick. And Brother Ryan, that $300,000 is gonna make Porter, all the lawyers, look like damn fools when the truth come out about what happened to Kendrick Johnson. Brother Ryan, that $300 was put in place for one reason. Let's put this in place. Let's scare these Negroes. These Negroes gonna run. We say they owe this amount of money, these Negroes gonna run. But Brother Ryan, they were shocked when they see we still standing tall. We still gonna fight for what's right. See, that's the key, Brother Ryan. No matter what trick they play. Brother Ryan, you mean to tell me we didn't have the right to go after these people for what happened to our son, and our son was found dead on that school campus, Brother Ryan? You think that anybody with common sense can see this? We didn't have a right to do it. We ain't got a right to go into this schoolhouse. Or is it? We as black people ain't got no business standing up to white people. Is that it? No. We will fight for what's right. We don't give a damn what they say we will. We fight for what is right. And righteousness always wins over wrong. And we will stand. We will stand for what is right. And we will get glory.
Here's I have another question. You called me the night that you found your son's body. I witnessed. I was with Eddie Will too. And somebody called us and said that there was a janitor who wanted to speak with us. Then we found out, according to what I gathered, somebody said apparently somebody had got next to them and all of a sudden they don't want to talk anymore. Then Bo Webster, who I had never met before, who was a private investigator, along with the private investigator from Jacksonville, they came and met with me at Let's Eat Cafe. We had children talking about a white girl. Now, I haven't mentioned this. Talking about what happened to your son in that several people was asked to go to the gym at a certain time. This was, I was told, by some children who actually went to the school. John Robinson, my friend, will testify to what I'm saying. Now, apparently somebody knew about George Foster Ryan. I'm not going to get into my criminal trespass because I know why we're here today. But they put me under criminal trespass for nothing. I can't go on no Lowndes County school property. So it seemed to me and others that they wanted to shut out the news media from going on that campus, getting information that could possibly lead solution to what happened to your son.
Brother Ryan, that's been happening for day one and it's still happening today. Like I said, every time someone want to come and tell something, Brother Ryan, I want the people to understand. When Sheriff Ashley Paul put out a $500,000 reward, that is not a reward for justice. That is a reward for you to come forth and they can make you shut the fuck up. I'm sorry I got to say it like that, but that is what it is. Just like with the $10,000 reward by Rowe and Taylor. That is designed for them to find out who all got information so they can shut it down. You think Ashley Paul is going to put up his own money to give a reward, $500,000 of his dollars? You got to be fucking joking. And Brother Ryan, what people don't understand is against the law for Sheriff Paul to even put up his money.
Run it by me again.
That is against the law for a sheriff to put up his own money. See, people don't understand this and know this. That's against the law, Brother Ryan. He can't do that.
Let me ask you another question. While you traveling the street, whose hands is that money in to ensure that it is given to the people? Is it in a bank somewhere set up that someone will monitor the person that come forth with the information? What kind of procedures are established about that $500,000 and how it is to be dispersed?
Well, Brother Ryan, that has not been told under any circumstances. Any circumstances, that has not been told. I can go up and say, hey, I put up $1 million. Is anybody going to come forward? Brother Ryan, how these people know they're going to get their money? See, why I got to go through him? Why they can't go through this special agencies and say, hey, take it out of Lion's kind of hand. I'm talking specifically to Paul. Put your $5,000 into a special
$500,000
to a special agency. They don't have nothing to do with Valdosta, Lion's County. Let a independent investigators come in. You can do this with the snap of your finger. Let an independent investigators come in that Lowndes County don't have a damn thing to do with. Put your money up to them and let the chips fall where they may.
Mr. Johnson, once again, I'm with the Get to Free Press. You called me on the 11th of January, 2013, because you knew me. And apparently, School Superintendent Wes Taylor and former Sheriff Prine knew me, that I report the truth in the black community, and that I report what others ignore. Apparently, they knew that. Now, my next question, as a journalist, freelance, under the Get to Free Press, you have a copy of the ruling from Sheriff Ashley Paul. Yes or no?
Yes.
Does it show who names was involved in that investigation as proof in terms of who conducted that investigation, so there is a chain of respect or disrespect for the people who investigated his findings?
Well, I didn't see, I didn't pay that any attention, but I think it's the same investigators who was involved from the very beginning.
Okay, my question is, did you see anybody on the document that you have or you don't recall?
Say again?
Did you see any of the investigators' name on the document?
I can't recall right now.
The copy that I have Sheriff Paul's name.
Yeah.
Signed under that statement or letter. That's what I received. Once again, that same statement, if it is legal, I ask, and I'm asking, the law, what is the law about that in comparison to the court case and his findings? In other words, find it kind of hard that when I went to request a copy of that in the courthouse, nobody knew. They said it was an independent investigation, and that's what the sheriff does, and that's routine. And that may be true.
Well, come on.
Yeah.
I'm going to 2 minutes out.
Okay.
Something will be going on.
Let's close out with your words, and we're going to close out.
Well, just as I stated, Brother Ryan, we, Johnson family, we are not only fighting for Kendrick Johnson. We are fighting now for all the injustice that happened here in Lowndes County. There have been so many other injustices deaths here in Lowndes County that families have completely either turned away or just was afraid to speak on what happened to their loved ones. This is the most difficult and hard job, but we, the Johnson family, will stand for everybody. Not only for Kendrick Johnson, but all the other injustices that have happened here in Lowndes County. We are taking the name of all other loved ones to Washington, D.C. We are going to get a change here in Lowndes County. And I want to say to all the black leaders here in Lowndes County, shame on you and your failure to stand and fight for what is right. You are not for the people. The Johnson family will stand and fight for what is right.
Roger B. Tawney, a Southerner, reads a decision that says that Dred Scott, as a black person, and black people generally, had never been, were not then, could never be citizens of the United States, and as such have no rights which white men are bound to respect.
Greetings. I'm George Boston Ryan with the Get To Free Press, a social media personality, and today I'm focused on the KJ family as they journey to Washington, D.C. tomorrow, seeking justice for their son. And unlike many other spiritual leaders here in Valdosta, I want Kenneth, Jackie, Grandmother English, and Thule to believe that they have supporters here in Valdosta, and we believe, like you believe, that there's something wrong with the manner in which the Lowndes County School Superintendent along with the educators and even the children, I might add, have not been forthcoming with information concerning this 17-year-old student that was killed January 10th, 2013. And so I want to let the family know that they have supporters here. Even if the news media are biased in their reporting, we are still with you. Secondly, I want you to know that the local city police, the Lowndes County Sheriff's Department, under former Sheriff Chris Prine, did not do a good job on investigating the death of Kendrick Johnson. We believe that the Sheriff Department had a hand in the cover-up of information in this case, and that between the Sheriff Prine, and Superintendent Wes Taylor, they found it necessary to shut up the press so that the children would not speak up and tell their story. And I believe this is why two sheriff deputies reported to me that Superintendent Wes Taylor placed me under a criminal trespass nearly 9 years ago, and they refused to remove me in writing, and I violated no law. They felt it necessary to shut me up because they knew just as sure as I got the information, I was going to publish it, because I am not in the clique, nor am I among the slicks. And so apparently they knew that. This video will show that Superintendent Wes Taylor lied, just like Mr. Kenneth, the father of KJ, said on January 27, 22, in front of the Sheriff's Department. They lied on him, they lied on me. NAACP representatives from Waycross, Georgia, all testified. Kenneth Johnson, his wife, and others all saw the judge sleeping. And I'm told that Jackie wrote down the time he fell asleep. And so I want you to be informed that if we are to continue to serve in the armed forces of this nation, we had better learn how to stand up for black folk. And when you have elected officials from the black persuasion and they don't serve your needs, you need to start identifying them and letting the people in your community know that they are nothing more than Uncle Tom's, or rather Uncle Sambo's and Aunt James. Let me repeat. They are nothing more than Uncle Sambo's and Aunt James. And we need to remove them from office, and we need to let the black people in the community, along with the white right people, understand that we know them, and it is indeed time for us to move up the King's Highway. Now, listen and watch the video and pay close attention to Mr. Kenneth Johnson, because they are going to Washington, D.C. tomorrow. And I put up about 12 videos in the last few weeks because I want to do my part. I don't want it said that the righteous refuse to stand up in times like these. And therefore our God from the Ancient of Days have to go into the woods and get the rocks to cry out for us. I do not want any rocks crying out for me. As it is written, so shall it be done. Now hear ye, O house of Israel. Hear ye, O house of Israel. For St. John says, and ye shall know the truth, and ye shall know the truth. St. John 8:32. Now let's get down the brass tacks, if you care enough to watch.
Valdosta, Lowndes County, Georgia news media networks have refused to publish anything about this bogus criminal trespass. It is as if they are a part of the clique and among the slicks. Joel 2:1. G.B.R. Is this an attempt to continue the cover-up of KJ murder on January 10, 2013 by School Superintendent Wes Taylor and former Sheriff Chris Prime? Joel 2:1.
Greetings, this is the Ghetto Free Press, and I'm George Boston Rhines. And as you know, today marks my 185th day of being under a criminal trespass warning here in Valdosta and Lowndes County, Georgia, for reasons yet unknown, without justification or notification. A restriction that I knew nothing about until 2 weeks, apparently, after it was put in place by either Wes Taylor, Sheriff Prime, or some other entity unknown.
Could you have someone monitor, please? I need a 27 through Georgia, please.
So we're doing it with it. We don't have anybody to monitor at this time.
Could you call someone in to help us out? Zero 51422-709 through Georgia. I didn't know you were in the Air Force.
Yeah, I'm retired Air Force. Why are you checking me out?
Do what?
Why are you checking me out?
Because you issued a criminal trespass.
For what?
Wes Taylor said nobody's allowed to be on the Board of Education.
Big pardon?
Mr. Taylor, the superintendent, said nobody's allowed to be on the Board of
So
Education.
you issued me what?
Criminal trespass. You can't be on the property.
Sir, I've never been told that.
I know, that's what I'm telling you now. Mr. Taylor just called and said it.
But why are you running my tag? That's one question.
No, I'm running your driver's license.
That's what I'm saying.
Any contact with anybody, you got to run the.
Okay, I got you. Okay,
just for
okay,
safety.
Okay,
And
okay.
What happens if you're wanted guy? You wouldn't want me running someone.
I'm just asking a question. I appreciate it. I got you, bro.
You know what I'm explaining.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
I just got back from Atlanta, so I thought they said we're gonna be right here.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Okay. All right. I got you.
Yeah.
I just got back from Atlanta. They called me out. I didn't know.
3 Sierra.
27 returns to George Boston, Class C ballot, 741029.
Where y'all supposed to be at?
I don't know. Like I said, I met with a guy from the Justice Department in Atlanta. That's why I had to cancel that to come down
they're
here.
releasing the autopsy results, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Where are you? I'm telling you, they're fixing to do it right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I just got back.
Mr. Taylor said no criminal trespass on Board of Education or any property owned by Lowndes at all and everything. You remember me and you had contact back over at the football field.
I remember you very receptive. I remember people.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just do me that favor and everything, okay?
Listen. And I was just drove up in and I was turning around, and they ran my tag number in, and further told me that I could not be on the public property by order of the school superintendent. And I'm sure that a lot of these people are going to go in to be told that they must come out of there. But if that is indeed true, And according to the way I was accosted, then these people also should have their tag number in, including Channel 6, because I rode in just like he did. Once I was informed, then I was getting ready to come out, but I was asked for my driver's license. And so I'm just wondering. Yes, they asked me for my driver's license, and the sheriff deputy, I heard him on the radio, I have it recorded, wherein everything was fine on me, and he told me you can go. But the point was, he did not run a single person that entered this area. He did not run their tag number. They was, well, just listen. Channel 6 News, they asked him for his driver's license. But we're going to monitor that, be that as it may. We here for the KVCI.blogspot.com, George Boss Rams in front of the Lowndes County Board of Education building. And I just been informed by President and CEO Bobby Worthy of the Justice League. What you just telling me that you was what?
I was standing on school property over here. We was waiting for the rally, everybody to be at the rally. 3 Lowndes County Sheriff's Department officers said, the school board said that they didn't want none of us on the school board grounds, that we had to meet up at Sam's. What I want to know is how they can tell us not to be on private property, on public property that the taxpayers dollars pay for.
They didn't give you any reason in terms. Wait a minute. They didn't give you any terms of safety or nothing like that. They didn't say because it was created a hazard or nothing like that. They just said that they didn't want you on the property without any valid reason. That's what you're saying?
Yep, they said they don't want us on the property. They didn't give them no reason. They said all they're doing is what the police, what the school board told us. They didn't want us on the property.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's look and see what happened in Valdosta and Lowndes County, Georgia. We were just informed that we could not go on the school property, and I was just drove up in and I was turning around, and they ran my tag number in and further told me that I could not be on the public property by order of the school superintendent.
2 weeks ago, and he's not allowed to be on the property by order of West Haven.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So, well, no, you know me, man. I'm about, but I'll do that.
You go in this area, you will get arrested. Okay.
Okay. What can I do?
You need to stay right here.
Okay. They got a public meeting down here. So you're telling me I can't go to the public meeting?
I do not know anything.
I got you. But there's a public meeting.
All I'm saying is,
I'm not going.
I've been told.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is that there's a public meeting down here. So you all telling me that I cannot go to a public meeting, and I haven't violated no law.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna do like you're saying, but
you have a criminal trespass warning for the area of Lowndes High School.
Okay, everybody, all of us do.
No,
well, I do.
As far as I know, it's just you.
Is that right?
As far as I know.
Okay, I don't want to hold up traffic. What you want me to do? What you want me to do, bro?
Go back out this way.
Okay, man, this is gonna be interesting in court. I have just been told that I have a criminal trespass warrant against me to stay off of Lowndes County school property, and I did not know that. My question is, who else have been issued a trespass warrant? I did not even know that I had been given a trespass warrant. This is getting very, very interesting at this time. This is George Boss Rhymes. This is Saturday morning. I was attempting to go into the Lowndes County Board of Education meeting, which should be a public meeting. I have never caused any disturbance whatsoever, and it is what it is. Sir, I need you got a card? Okay, what's your name? Stephanie Thomas? Deputy Thomas. Okay, what my attorney asked me is to request from you a copy of that warrant. My attorney, C.B. King. I just called my attorney. And I know you ain't got that.
You talking to the wrong person.
I understand, but I'm doing what he asked me to do.
But you do not, first of all, you do not have a warrant, not a warrant.
Okay, well,
with a warrant, you would have been arrested.
Right, okay.
It's criminal
trespass warning. A criminal trespass warning.
If you come on this premises,
Right, I got you. Yeah, right.
But I can not give you a copy of that, you call it to the sheriff about that or next person in charge.
Okay, so can you radio him now? Because it's very serious. I mean, I got
busy directing traffic.
Okay, well, I just want to know.
Direct traffic, somebody can get seriously hurt.
I understand. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you, man. I ain't got nothing against you, man. You know that. Let's look and see what happened in Valdosta and Lowndes County, Georgia. I was stopped going into the Lowndes County graduation by Deputy Thomas. He said I was on a trespass warrant, trespass papers, and I had been restricted for two weeks. For 2 weeks, by not going on the property. So I was advised to follow that up Tuesday. So what I did, I went to the magistrate court and asked them for a copy. They said they didn't have one. They said I was in the wrong place, so I need to come to the sheriff's department. I came to the sheriff's department and I talked to Lieutenant Styles D. Jones. He said the sheriff's department did not issue a warrant. I mean, a trespass warrant on me, anything of that nature. And so I left there, and what's going on? Now, Mr. Robertson went to Mr. West Taylor, who's the superintendent of the school, and that morning, and he was in, so he talked extensively with, I think it was the next person in line. And so when I left the sheriff's department yesterday, I went back home, and Robinson called me, and I met him at a restaurant, and while he was there, West Taylor called him. And West Taylor said that he didn't issue no trespass papers on me. Styles said that the school superintendent was the one that issued it. And so this morning, my attorney told me to go to the district attorney office. I went to the district attorney office, and I got the Green, Beth Green. I talked to her down in state court. Then I went up to the district attorney and talked to Miss Melanie up there. And she said, well, let me have a seat. And so she called the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department said that is a trespass papers on me. And that generated some questions. And like I told the district attorney, the only place I know now to do is go to the Georgia Attorney General. And so no, she said to me, go talk to the sheriff. And yeah.
George, the only thing I can tell you, I'll check on it and find out where this warrant transpired, who took the warrant out, if it's still active, I'll call you back. That's the only thing I can tell you, because I'm not familiar with the warrant itself. I am not familiar with the warrant itself. I will try to find out who took the warrant, if there is an active warrant, and then I'll call you and let you know.
Okay, now what they did, all the agencies, I'm going to the federal government now. I'm going to check with the federal government.
Well, check with anybody you want to, George. I'm just telling you, I'll check on it and find out if it's an active warrant and who took it. And then I'll be able to call you back.
I know I can check with who I want, so you know I know that. I'm very smart. I know that. I know I can check with who I want, and I'm going to do that.
Well, go ahead and do that, George. I'm not trying to stop you. I just told you what I did.
Another statement, too, was made by Mr. West Taylor. I don't have the exact words, but I wrote down on some paper. And from what he said is there's something in the works on you. Now that concerns me, and it concerned the people that I was with yesterday. And I
don't know about any of
them. That's okay. I just want you to know that, because there are people who love me and who respect me, and those, and black and white. And so these particular people, I just want it to be known that when he made the statement that he made, and whatever it is what it is. Sure. It is what it is.
And for this sheriff department to continuously tell lies, it's right here in its documents. Read the third autopsy report, peoples. Don't take my word for it. Read the third autopsy report. It doesn't state what he said.
I'm a minister at the First Antioch Missionary Baptist Church, and my grandchildren attend school out there.
Yes, sir.
And there were some things that I was kind of concerned about, because I had asked a gentleman by the name of George Boston Ryan to come in and video my granddaughter's graduation, and he was stopped and said he wasn't allowed to come on the premises, and we was trying to find out what had he done that he couldn't come out there.
He was stopped by who?
By the sheriff department. Said that he was giving orders by you guys that he wasn't allowed on the premises.
Okay. I think that may be something you'd have to take up with the sheriff's department.
Okay. So you guys, it's okay if he come out to the premises if something come up?
No, sir. What I'm saying is I believe that there was, and I don't know what they called it, some sort of order based on something that happened in the past, that I believe that there's something in place. And again, I think either he would need to discuss that with you or possibly the sheriff's department.
Oh, okay.
So I do believe there's something in place. I don't want to tell you something that's not right.
Right.
But I do believe that is accurate.
Right. Well, all right. Well, I tell you what, can you set an appointed time that I can come in and sit down with you?
Yes, sir. I would be glad to.
What about tomorrow sometime? What would be a good time?
I'm not going to be here tomorrow. Hold on just a minute. Let me turn this calendar around.
All right.
Can you see your calendar?
No, I'm not at the present time.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask you this. Is there a particular day of the week that's better for you?
What about today? What about Friday morning?
Well, we're closed the rest of this week. That's what I was going to
Okay.
This is part of the time when...
Well, what about Monday of next week?
All right. Let me open this thing up. Monday is June the 3rd.
Yes, sir.
I've got on Monday and Tuesday of next week, I'm meeting with we have 12 schools. I'm meeting with all of our principals on Monday and Tuesday.
Okay.
I've already got all of them scheduled.
Well, I'm scheduled to go to Atlanta. I got to be in Atlanta on Wednesday and the rest of that week, so I can't make that one.
All right, well, hold on just a minute. I'm just flipping over the next week, which is Monday the 10th.
Okay.
I've got a principals meeting that day. Hold on, we'll get us a day. Hold on just a minute. Let me turn this thing over. That Thursday morning, which is the 13th, and I know you may not know off the top of your head, but that may be a possibility we could shoot for.
Okay. Well, you busy the rest of the day?
Is that on the 13th on that Thursday?
Well, yeah, but what about today?
I've got somebody scheduled at 3 and then somebody after that.
All right, well, we'll just make it for that time then, and we'll see what we can do, and I'll give you a call back, or we'll get back in touch.
All right, so you want to set a time on that morning, or you want to just wait and call me back? Whatever works for you.
I'll just call you back.
Okay, all right, that'll be fine, and we'll get a time that'll work for both of us, and I'll be glad to.
All right, well, as of you know right now, there's nothing that you guys have done to say that George Ryans can't come on the school campus.
I think there is something in place through the sheriff's department.
Okay.
Yes, I do think there is, but
all right.
I prefer that he either talk to you about that or the sheriff's department. I don't want to tell you something that's not right.
Okay, all right. Well, that'll work then. All right.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
And for this sheriff department to continuous tell lies, it's right here in its documents. Read the third autopsy report, peoples. Don't take my word for it. Read the third autopsy report. It doesn't state what he said. We're not asking you to tell, we're not asking anyone to tell any lies to us. Can you hold on a second, just a second, please? The third autopsy here it says the third autopsy also contradicts the finding the first autopsy, which the GOJ admitted to us that the second and third autopsy was the most accurate autopsy there was.
Something that's also important to note, that since the closing of the investigation, the Johnson family has exhumed their child's remains yet again and performed a third autopsy. The third autopsy confirms the second, which conflicts the first. The first stated positional asphyxia. The second autopsy stated blunt force trauma. And since now the third autopsy states blunt force trauma. Also in the meeting with Mr. and Mrs. Johnson only, not their legal representation or anyone else that they felt should be a part of that meeting, they were told that the second autopsy is the most accurate. I want to make sure this is clear. At that point in time, it was only the positional asphyxiation one, the story that Kendrick crawled into this mat to retrieve a shoe, suffocated and died. We all felt that was bogus and knew it was bogus from Jump Street. At that time, there was a second autopsy which said blunt force trauma to the face of these parents. The federal government clearly stated that the second autopsy is the most accurate, but there is not enough information to point to any individuals or one individual, therefore we must close the case.
Happened in the last moments of his life.
Yeah, because the high school's lawyer, right, is saying that the surveillance video shows other teens were inside that gym. So that opens up so many more questions, doesn't it? And the fact, too, that I know just reading all of this, that it's been already ruled that it has nothing to do with it, but there were sneakers found inside the gym, blood smeared on the wall that was said that wasn't a match for Kendrick. What do you make of that? You're an attorney.
Well, Attorney King has been digging at this, getting all the answers, the questions to the answers to lead to this real life murder mystery. Because at the end of the day, Natasha, these parents sent their child to school for a book bag. He was returned to them the next day with a body bag. And as Attorney King said, there's a eyewitness account. It's that surveillance video. Mm-hmm. Release this video and let this family get answers to why their child isn't here.
Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, what do you think happened to your son? Did he have any enemies? And you describe him as a polite child, that everybody loved him. What do you think really happened?
Well, we know something happened. Mm-hmm. You know, we just don't know what. And that's what we are in the midst of trying to find out exactly what happened. You know, going to school, being a good child, you know, we just don't understand, you know, why this happened, and we just want answers.
Did he have any enemies that you knew of? Did he ever talk about anyone being after him, anything like that? Not to put words into your mouth?
No, not being after him, but I say everybody got enemies, so.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope you get the answers that you're looking for. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, thank you. I'm so sorry for your loss, Mr. Benjamin Crown. And Mr. Shaveen King, thank you.
What happened to this teenage boy walking through this school gym? He's captured here on surveillance camera, then disappears until...
From the lounge lights going out, there's a dead body out here.
17-year-old Kendrick Johnson was found upside down in a rolled gym mat last January. Investigators say he was reaching for a shoe, got stuck, and died.
We have found nothing to indicate this was anything other than just a tragic accident.
You can tell he was beaten.
Kendrick's parents believe the story about the shoe is a cover-up, and they question why sheriff's investigators either did not collect or test potential evidence from the scene.
Got some questions about the Kendrick Johnson case.
I'll discuss that with you.
Why not, sir?
Because our case is closed.
Kendrick's body was exhumed. His parents paid for an independent autopsy, and the pathologist found evidence of apparent non-accidental blunt force trauma to the neck.
Did you see Kendrick that day?
No. I did not.
Seeing the alleged killer of KJ standing next to him in the hallway the day he died in school has sent chills down our spines. How did no one see this frame? How did the FBI let this go?
And the findings of the third autopsy, it said that their revealed blunt force trauma was found in Johnson's right chest. It made you think that Pauk said the third autopsy was accidental blunt force, he said that it was what did he say? I got it here, I'm sorry. And actually Paul findings, they say third autopsy was performed by the Office of Armed Air Force Medical Examiner. The initial report, August 2014. August 25th. It listed the cause of death as position of fixture and the manner of death accidental. That is not true. Look at the third autopsy, people. Do your own research. The third autopsy was done by Dr. Anderson. It was the third autopsy contradicts the findings of the first autopsy, which determined the cause of death is position of fixture. The findings in the autopsy done by forensics that the reveal of blunt force trauma was found. And that contradicts everything Sheriff Pauk said about the third autopsy. Do your research, people. Do not believe anything that this sheriff department tell you, because it is known that they would not tell the truth about what happened.
In June, Kendrick's body was sent to Florida. The Johnsons hired Dr. Bill Anderson to conduct an independent second autopsy. In that autopsy, Anderson told the Johnsons he found evidence that Kendrick died as the result of a blow to the neck and not accidental asphyxia, after slipping into a rolled gym mat at school, as investigators in Georgia had said.
Inside the FBI report, it shows you where Kendrick and Bryant crossed paths. Now they are saying the Bells left an hour before Kendrick was last seen. First, they stated they left that morning. Then they left at noon. Now they left an hour before Kendrick was last seen. You can't keep changing the time of when they crossed paths. You got an FBI report showing you when they cross paths with each other.
Everybody who sees this case believes that there's something awfully suspicious about what happened to Kendrick Johnson. They do not accept the sheriff's conclusion that he climbed into a wrestling mat, got stuck and died. And now, with the release of these videos, it raised even more questions, because out of 36 videos, 36 angles, only one of them is distorted, one of them is blurry, and that is the one that was facing the corner where the wrestling mat with Kendrick Johnson's dead body inside it. And that's the only one that's corrupted.
The investigators say Kendrick's death was a tragic accident, that he climbed onto these rolled gym mats to reach for this shoe at the center of one mat slipped, got stuck upside down, and died. County officials say the blood in this photo spilled after Kendrick's heart had stopped pumping hours after he had died. But Kendrick's parents say the photo and the video show something else.
There's enough evidence to show that Kendrick was murdered.
CNN has exclusively obtained the 15-minute video and nearly 700 photos of the scene taken by Lowndes County investigators. And for the first time, Kendrick's parents, Kenneth and Jacqueline Johnson, are ready to look at them, including these pictures of orange and black gym shoes investigators found just yards from Kendrick's body.
Did these shoes belong to Kendrick?
No.
When you look at these shoes that were at the scene, what stands out to you?
The blood on the shoe.
But investigators say tests show the stains are something other than blood, so the shoes were not collected as potential evidence.
I don't understand why.
CNN took the photos to independent private investigator and former FBI Special Agent Harold Kopis.
If you were on this scene, would this have been something you would have left?
No. Bag and tag.
There's no indication investigators ever even looked for the owner of the shoes or this hooded sweatshirt found a few feet from Kendrick's body.
And if you look real close, there's something on this particular cuff. And then the question is, was it blood? Did you test it?
According to the crime lab report, no.
They know something happened in that gym, and they don't want it to come out.
For the Johnsons, there's no stronger indicator than this photo. It's of what appears to be blood dripping down a wall. Here's what Lowndes County Lieutenant Stride Jones told CNN about that wall in May.
And we tested it, and it was blood. Now, we did DNA testing, and it was not the blood of Kendrick Johnson.
If it wasn't Kendrick blood, who blood was it?
Did you ever find out who it was or any involved?
No, as of now, we haven't, no. But it doesn't appear to be related to our crime in any way.
What do you think about the decision not to test it further?
You can't explain it. If you're running the crime scene, then you're going to say that's potential evidence. Obviously, we're going to check this out and find out who does it belong to.
This is an athletic gym. I mean, obviously, this is where they conduct various athletic classes and instructions at.
A kid couldn't have scraped their knee or arm or something and got that much blood on the wall.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 impacts.
The opinion of our crime scene personnel, after looking at it closely, the blood appeared as if it had been there for an extended period of time. It didn't appear to be very fresh.
School gym. There is no way that they would allow whoever was supposed to clean this gym to leave that blood on that wall.
And there's the question, why was there no blood where they expected to see lots of blood? Remember the photo of that shoe investigators say was inches below Kendrick's head? Look at it again.
If he was inside the mat, reaching for that shoe, inside this tube, reaching for the shoe, and the shoe is beneath him, why isn't that shoe covered with blood?
And what do you think about that shoe not being covered with blood?
It was placed there.
Hey, Sheriff Prime. Hi. Victor Blackwell, CNN.
Chris Prime.
The Sheriff's Department has denied a cover-up, but we took the Johnsons' concerns to Lowndes County Sheriff Chris Prime.
Got some questions about the Kendrick Johnson case.
I won't discuss that with you.
Why not, sir?
Because our case is closed.
The family has some concerns about why some things were not taken into evidence. There was blood on the wall.
I won't discuss the case with you.
And why is that?
Because I don't want to.
Then, less than a minute after he'd invited us in,
What did you not understand that I said? I'm through talking to you.
he ushered us out.
Thank you, Sheriff Prime.
I don't believe this was an accident. I think this young man met with foul play.
The Justice Department is reviewing the pictures and the video to decide if it'll launch a federal investigation into Kendrick's death. But for Kendrick's father, the evidence is clear.
Someone murdered him. They should be in jail. They are covering it up. They should be in jail.
Victor Blackwell joins us now. So the former FBI agent says that the crime scene was contaminated. How so?
Well, Harold Kopis says that it's crime scene 101, that when you're on a scene investigating, you wear the shoe protectors. Those are the blue booties you see on the crime shows on television. Well, look at these pictures. You can see here that these investigators are not wearing the shoe protectors, and it's not so much to protect the scene rather to protect your shoes, but it's to protect the scene from anything you could track in. And Copa says because they're not wearing those protectors, this scene was obviously contaminated.
And clearly, you tried to talk to the sheriff there. They clearly didn't want to talk. Is there anyone tied to the investigation who is willing to talk?
Well, we went to speak with the superintendent of Lowndes County Schools, Wes Taylor, and we asked him about the blood on the wall and how long it had been there. Also, I mean, if the theory is true that he slipped into these mats after climbing onto the bleacher to get the shoe, are the mats still there? His answer to most of our questions: we are cooperating with the Georgia Bureau of Investigations. He wouldn't go further than that.
You would think someone who works at that school would either be able to say, oh yeah, I remember when a student, bled all over the wall in 6 different places, or not. It would be interesting to hear if they've been talked to. What about the Department of Justice? Where are they in the status of their investigation?
The U.S. Attorney in Macon, who covers this district, his name is Michael Moore, and we've spoken with him several times, and each time he says that he is reviewing the information from the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office, and he is going to work to decide if he will open a criminal investigation. Now, just a few weeks ago, we heard from the Civil Rights Division. They've said that they will not open an investigation through their department, but it still could be opened as a criminal investigation. Michael Moore says he could come up with that decision in a week or in a month. He doesn't feel rushed. He wants to make sure that he gets it right.
Not only is this further video evidence that the Bell boys were on campus when KJ went missing, we found something that the FBI clearly didn't want us to see. Let us put them side by side so you can see what we found. Here they are. Can you see something a little odd? Look closely. There appears to be a frame on both pages that matches. How could this be? What tipped us off is KJ's yellow folder. We were going through Brian's movements, and all of a sudden, KJ's folder appeared on screen. That's right. There's a frame on KJ's side and Brian's side that is identical. The boys are standing seemingly right next to each other in the hallway.
And then it's just like a slap in the face. It's like the father, Rick Bell, said. When he said in his deposition, how many times that Kendrick was over to their house, which we know that was a lie. And then now the sheriff want to say that Kendrick and Brian later did a project together, which is a bald-faced lie. Kendrick, after the fight on the bus, they did not have any communication with one another.
I'm going to ask my photographer to push in tight on your face. Okay. Our viewers can read your expression. Did you have anything to do with the death of Kendrick Johnson?
No. He's like one of my good friends.
Even at the time of his death?
Even at the time of his death.
You know, every word we broadcast of this is going to be scrutinized by the blogosphere, the Twitter sphere, and so on.
Yes, sir. It should be. And I want everybody to know the truth. And, I mean, they can ridicule me and they can say whatever they want, but in the end, the truth will prevail. And everybody will find that me and my brother have been innocent and always will be innocent.
Now, a Channel 2 Action News investigation into the mystery surrounding the death of a Valdosta teenager found in an upright gym mat at school. 2 young men at the focus of the Kendrick Johnson controversy have declined to talk to investigators, a grand jury, and an on-camera interview until now. Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Winnie live outside FBI headquarters in DeKalb County with these exclusive interviews. Mark?
And at last check, this case remained a focus of federal investigation. But we are outside the FBI's Atlanta field office because that is where we're told Agent Rick Bell was assigned, and both his sons are the subject of target letters from a federal prosecutor. And now we hear from them at last.
I'm going to ask my photographer to push in tight on your face.
Okay.
Our viewers can read your expression. Did you have anything to do with the death of Kendrick Johnson?
No. He's like one of my good friends.
Even at the time of his death?
Even at the time of his death.
You know, every word we broadcast of this is going to be scrutinized by the blogosphere, the Twitter sphere, and so on.
Yes, sir. It should be, and I want everybody to know the truth. And I mean, they can ridicule me, and they can say whatever they want, but in the end, the truth will prevail, and everybody will find that me and my brother have been innocent and always will be innocent.
We've just heard what family attorneys acknowledge sheriff's deputies, the GBI, and a federal grand jury have not heard. Brothers Brian and Brandon Bell answering questions, no holds barred, about the mysterious death of Kendrick Johnson in 2013.
He was the laughter of our house. He was the joy of our house, and he gives us strength to keep fighting.
The Lowndes County Sheriff says after a thorough investigation, his office agrees with the state medical examiner that Johnson's death was an accident due to positional asphyxia, that he wedged himself in a rolled-up gym mat trying to reach a shoe and could not get out. Kendrick Johnson's mom takes issue with that.
Are you more convinced today than ever that KJ was a victim of foul play?
Yes.
And with some of what the Bells say.
No, they weren't friends.
And in a lawsuit, Johnson's parents allege a group, including the Bell brothers, sons of an FBI agent, violently assaulted their son, leading to his death.
None of the allegations that were made were without research.
But both Bells maintain they have rock-solid alibis.
Did you see Kendrick Johnson?
No, sir, not at any point during that day.
Where were you?
I was in class. First block, second block, third block, and fourth block.
Close to the gym?
No.
Did you see Kendrick that day?
No. I did not.
The suit suggests the brothers sought revenge for a brief fight between Brian and Kendrick on a team bus.
The year before,
What was that about?
So I can't even remember. I mean, it was so small to us, it was ridiculous.
Your brother had a football scholarship offered to FSU.
Yes, sir, he did.
They pulled it back.
On signing day.
So how low did you get?
To the lowest. The lowest you can go.
Letters from the Macon U.S. Attorney's Office suggest both Bells are targets of grand jury investigation. The letters suggest possible civil rights violations.
My objective is to only get justice for my son.
Have you prayed for the Johnsons?
Yes, sir. I have. I hope that they found justice, and I hope that they do find out the truth about their son.
I pray for the truth to come out about what happened to my son.
Now, there's lots more. These interviews were extensive. No lawyers present, no parents present. We plan to have a lot of all new excerpts coming up on Channel 2 Action News at 6, including both Bell brothers talking about federal search warrants executed at their residences in recent weeks and what searchers may have been after. For now, I'm live outside FBI Atlanta headquarters in DeKalb County. Mark Winning, Channel 2 Action News.
From these interviews that you obtained, Mark, to some of the details in the case, so much in here is unusual to say the least. And right now on our Facebook page, we've posted a link to Mark's story. Click on it to get interviews with these brothers, their mother, and the mother of Kendrick Johnson.
And for this sheriff department to continuously tell lies, it's right here in its documents. Read the third autopsy report, people. Don't take my word for it. Read the third autopsy report. It doesn't state what he said. And for this sheriff department to continuously tell lies, it's right here in its documents. Read the third autopsy report, people. Don't take my word for it. Read the third autopsy report. It doesn't state what he said.
Mm-hmm.